Hi everyone, very good evening. Welcome to another All Stars class by Khaira Education. And thank you for your amazing response in the previous All Stars classes that were held by Khaira Education. We are really overwhelmed with how welcoming all of you are, and really happy to know that the classes have been helping you. So great that you all have been participating. So I am Sanya Mathur from Khaira Education, and I look forward to taking your All Stars class for Reading Part A today. And I look forward again to your active participation and feedback. So, as I mentioned, that I'm from Khaira Education, and Khaira Education is one of the premium providers of OET. In fact, we are Asia's first premium preparation providers of OET, and we have classes available in both online as well as offline mode. We have three centers in Mohali, Delhi, and Amritsar, and you are welcome to join any of these centers. And also, our classes are available online, and students from all across the world join us for the same. And here you can see the details on the screen. In case you're planning to join us, you can take a screenshot. I will be sharing these details once again towards the end of the class as well. So just to tell you a little bit more about Khaira Education. So the director of this institution is Ms. Gurleen Khaira, who has authored six preparation books, which OET also has endorsed on their official website. And these preparation books can really come in handy in case you would like to get any of them. And the course leader at Khaira Education is also Ms. Gurleen Khaira. So I would like to tell you a bit about how the classes are held at Khaira Education actually. So, as I mentioned already, the classes take place online and offline, and there is no main difference between the two classes. The only difference is of the mode. The content quality remains the same, and we provide complete material. So you will not have to buy anything from outside. We don't expect you to purchase anything. We would be providing you with all the resources necessary for all the four modules of reading, listening, speaking, and writing. And how do we provide you the appropriate support? So first of all, we have group classes that take place every day from Monday to Friday, and Saturdays we conduct mock tests so that weekly you can see your performance as to how you're improving. Secondly, we also have one-on-one speaking sessions as per students' availability. So we let the students tell us their availability, and based on that, we schedule their speaking sessions that they can have with the trainers so that they can get personalized guidance, feedback, as well as resources for the same. And the same is true for writing as well. You can send your letter assessments to the trainers who will give you the feedback within 24 hours. Next, we also have flexible timetable for working healthcare professionals. It is quite understandable that many of you healthcare professionals would be working as well as managing your studies. So we offer flexible timings to you. We have morning batch as well as evening batch. And in case you are struggling to balance your work and study, we also provide the service of making study plans for you based on your work timings. Lastly, we have round-the-clock assistance available, um, and the staff members as well as trainers are available at all times. So someone or the other will always be there to guide you through everything in the course. So I look forward to all of you joining the course. And as I mentioned, I would be sharing the details again towards the end. And I hope you enjoy this class. So let's begin by talking a little bit about the format of Reading Part A, since I'm aware that some of you might be attempting OET for the very first time. So let's begin. So about Reading Part A. First of all, Reading Part A tests your ability to skim, scan, and record information quickly and accurately. So sometimes students feel that they only need to do skimming, perhaps not like skimming and scanning, but there is one more very important part, which is to record information accurately. There will be four short texts in part A that healthcare professionals usually encounter in their workplace, and they will all be on the same topic. Typically, it could be a medical condition or a procedure, and each of the texts will address certain part of the same topic, And at least one of the four texts that you will see in part A will contain either a graph or a table or a flowchart or perhaps some other type of infograph. Moving further, there would be three sets of questions that you will get based on those four texts. The first set will always be matching questions, and the next two sets would be gap fill and short answer questions, the sequence of which can vary, but matching questions will always be the first set. So the first set, what does that entail? There you have to identify the text in which certain pieces of information are located. And for the next two sets, which would be short answer questions and gap fills, you have to write a very concise answer by finding specific information from one of the four texts that would be there based on what the question asks you. And as some of you might know already, you will have 15 minutes to answer 20 questions in part A. Now, these questions do not follow the sequence of the text, as you could have guessed. So, yeah. This is the format of reading part A. So now let's begin today's class, which is about answering reading part A questions quickly and accurately. What are the steps and important things for us to remember to ensure that? So I would first be asking all of you to do something. So I am going to show you the four major components of reading part A. And I would like to know from all of you that how exactly do you attempt part A? In which order? All right. So the four things which you will just see on the screen, they will be labeled A, B, C, and D. And I would want you to write the order in which you attempt it. For example, it could be A, B, C, D or D, C, A, B, depending on how you do it. So there you have it, the four components. Matching questions, the first set, skimming the four text, short answer question, gap fill. So what is it that you do first, second, third, and fourth? Please mention it in the chat. For example, if you attempt gap fill questions first, so you could put D, and then if you do short answer question, you could put C, then A, then B. So I would give all of you some time to do that. Please write it in the chat. So naturally, there will be some variations in how all of you attempted. And I do know that many students prefer to start from short answer questions, and as I can see as well. So let's discuss what is the correct order in which we should be attempting reading part A. And let's see how many of you could get it right. So what is the correct order of attempt? Number one, we have to skim the four text, and that should take about 2 minutes. Secondly, we should be doing the matching questions for 3 minutes. As I mentioned, that is the first set, and that will always be the first set in reading part A. Then we should answer the short answer questions and gap fill questions. Now, as I have mentioned before, the sequence could change. In some papers, they could be gap fill questions first and then short answer questions, but the difficulty level keeps increasing. So this is how the time management should go of reading part A. So as you can see, the total comes up to 15 minutes. Now I will be discussing each of these components in detail. You might be wondering how could we do matching questions in 3 minutes or how can skimming be done in 2 minutes? Well, that is exactly what we're going to delve into now. So we're going to take it one by one. So let's start with skimming. So why is skimming essential? Number one, to get a general idea of the four texts that are there. And also it will help us answer matching questions more accurately. So now I am going to perform skimming for all of you, and I will also be putting a timer of 2 minutes because that is the maximum time we should be spending while skimming. So what I want all of you to do is not write anything in the chat. I just want you to observe. All right. So I will just be sharing my screen and showing you a paper. All right, so there we have the paper, and I want all of you to just observe how the skimming is going to go. Let me set the timer and let's begin. Okay. Diagnosis of cutaneous psoriasis is usually straightforward based on appearance, frequent presentation characterized by red plaque. So I can already see some signs and symptoms over here. Differential diagnosis, okay. Appearance, again, they're talking about scaling. Guttate psoriasis, again, differential diagnosis. Another type of psoriasis, so some types are there. Let me add a T. Okay, coming to the next, adult psoriasis they're talking about and topical treatment. All right, I'm just gonna look at this trunk and limbs, face, flexure, genitals. Okay, so these are body types, and then there are 4 steps. I'm not gonna go into the details. Aim for a break of 4 weeks. Okay, corticosteroids, topical treatment, non-steroid based, ditronol, they're saying alternative. All right, so I can see what the text is about. Text says psoriatic arthritis, inflammatory disease, psoriasis, and they're saying 42%, some percentage is mentioned, some year is mentioned, so I'm just going to put a percentage sign over here. Tell myself that there is some data over here. Same here, 50% of cases, some joints are mentioned. Then they're talking about Casper, it's a criteria. Patient must have this disease. Now there are categories, description, and points. Okay. Current psoriasis, family history, nail dystrophy, rheumatoid factor, dactylitis, radiographic evidence. Okay. Again, not going into the details. Text is children and young people. Okay. Other one was about adult. Again, topical. Area of the body, creams and ointments. Creams and ointments. Okay. Steroid and non-steroid. All right. Maximum amount of vitamin D. 3 medicines are mentioned, and some age groups are mentioned over here, and percentage sign. Okay. So text D is about this. C was about the diagnostic criteria. This was about treatment for adults, and this was like an introduction. All right, and with that, my time is up. So as you could see, skimming is possible within 2 minutes. Now we're going to go back and let's see what all of you could observe as I had asked all of you to remember that. Now I am going to show you some things, and I want you to answer in a yes or no in the chat that while skimming, did I do this or not? Okay. You could also simply write a Y for yes and N for no. That will just make it easier. So everyone, quickly tell me, while skimming, did I read the heading and subheadings? Yes or no? Please write a Y or N in the chat. Yes, I did read the heading and subheadings. Uh, Now, second, did I read all the sentences carefully from the beginning till the very end? Yes or no? Please quickly write in the chat. No, because that's not what skimming entails. Third, did I write my own heading or hints along the paragraphs? Yes or no? Yes, I did. Because that always helps. Suppose if later on there was a question about signs and symptoms, because I've already given myself that hint, that will make it easier for me. Now, did I read the first line of every para to get an idea what the text is about? Yes or no? Yes, I tried to. This is primarily for the text which contain a lot of paragraphs. So usually if anything is in paragraph form, it is ideal to read the first line to get a general idea as to what the rest of the text will be about. Okay. Did I focus on lines properly to understand the meaning? Yes or no? No, I did not focus on all the lines to understand the meaning. That's not what skimming entails. Lastly, did I take a very long time? No, I took only 2 minutes, and that's exactly what all of you also need to do. So, as in when you practice skimming even more, you will be able to understand that you might even take less than 2 minutes while skimming. And lastly, did I try to find some specific words or phrases? Yes or no? No, because that is scanning. We are not doing that. When I was skimming, I didn't know what I'm looking for. I was just trying to understand what the texts are about. Okay. So these are the things which are included in skimming. So basically, skimming means speed reading to get a general idea of all the 4 texts. How is skimming helpful? First of all, this is in sync with the format of the test. We move from general to particular. And later on, when you will have the more specific questions of gap fill and short answer questions, this strategy will help you locate the text more easily. And that will ultimately help you with the time management. Okay, so this is how we are going to spend the first 5 minutes. So for 2 minutes, we are going to do skimming, 30 seconds approximately each text. And then for 3 minutes, we are going to do the matching questions. Now, matching questions also require the skill of skimming. It's a misconception if people think that we need scanning for the first set. We actually don't till the second set of questions. So for the first 5 minutes, that's how we're going to spend it in the reading section. Okay, so we have talked about skimming. Let's talk about scanning now. And I know this is where most of the problem lies. So scanning will help you with these two sets of questions, short answer questions as well as gap fill questions. And both of them, approximately, we should spend about 5 minutes. So let's see how we can get answers most accurately when it comes to these question types. So let's talk about the steps to solve the last two sets of questions. So step number one is to read the question, underline the keywords, and I'm introducing a third step, which is to just keep a count of the number of keywords in your mind. This will really come in handy, and we'll see soon how. So for example, if this is the first question, can all of you read it and think of which keywords you would be highlighting here? So yes, in addition, arms and legs, area of the body most likely to be affected, and then chronic plaque psoriasis. Now, if we do a quick count, there are 5 keywords here. Try to do it for the second question. So think of the words you would underline, and you can perhaps write the count in the chat for that. So yes, how much non-steroid cream, prescribed, application, child's trunk. So again, we have 5 keywords here. Let's try for the third one. So let's see, maximum percentage, young patient's body, calcitrol applied. So we have like 4 keywords here. And let's look at this one. Now this is a gap fill question. Nevertheless, strategies remain the same. So let's see, fever, pustules, plaques, red skin. So 4 keywords here. Let's try for the last one. So again, what would be the keywords here? Around half of all patients, pain in some joints. So 4 keywords we can say over here. So the first step actually contains 3 things: reading the question, underlining the keywords, and keeping a count in our mind. Now, after we have done this, what would be the second step? It's very, very important, and it is called anticipation. We have to understand what information the question is asking us to find. Let's try to do that. Now, I would need all of your help in this. So I'm going to display some questions, and I want to know from all of you that what is the question asking us to find? Okay. So this is the first question that we saw. So please tell me, what is it that we have to find here? So the question is asking us area of the body. So yes, the question is asking us area of the body. So our answer will be that. Let's try it in this one. Please write your answers in the chat. What is the question asking us to find here? Yes, how much cream they were saying. So that's asking us quantity. Let's look at another question. Please again write your answers in the chat. What is the question asking us to find here? Yes, maximum percentage. So either it will be some number or a person that we will find in the text. Let's try for this one. So this anticipation is even possible in gap-fill questions. So a patient with fever, in addition to pustules, plaques, and dead skin, may be suffering from. So suffering from tells us what could fit in the gap, which is, as I can already see, all of you guessing, a condition or a disease. That's what we suffer from. So it can't be a medication, etc. Good. Let's try this one. Around half of all patients with PSA will have pain in the dash joints. So what could fit in this gap? So yes, pain in some joints. So perhaps this will be name of certain joints. Good job. So what was the first step? We read the question, we underlined the keywords, and the second step was to do some anticipation. Now the anticipation areas that I've highlighted, so we also mark them as keywords. So when we go to the text and find the paraphrases, these would primarily be our answers. So let's see how we can do this in um, actuality. So the third step is to go to the text where the information is likely to be found, and then we will find the same number of paraphrases as we had identified in the question. So if you remember, this was the first question that we did, that in addition to arms and legs, which area of the body is most likely to be affected by chronic plaque psoriasis? Now, the anticipation that all of us did was area of the body. That's what it's asking us to find. Now, um, here is a table for all of you. What you're going to do here is you can see that there are four keywords. The fifth one is area of the body. That's what we have to find. So I didn't write it in the table. So when I show you the text, I am not asking you to answer right now. Okay, we will come to the answers in a bit. What we are practicing is finding the paraphrases, because many of you have told me that finding the paraphrases is what is most difficult. Okay, so when I show you the text shortly, I want you to write in the chat 1, 2, 3, 4, which would be the paraphrases of these four keywords. Okay, so you can write one and whatever paraphrase of in addition to you could find, two, whatever paraphrase of arms and legs you find, so on and so forth. Okay, so please don't write them one by one. Let's write 1, 2, 3, 4 and the answers all together. Remember, let's not answer anything. Let's focus on the activity. All right, there you have the text. I'm giving all of you about 15 to 20 seconds to do this. Please write your answers in the chat. All right, so for in addition to, we see and. For arms and legs, the paraphrase used was limbs. For most likely, the paraphrase used was specially. And chronic plaque psoriasis was mentioned as it is. So you see, the same number we saw in the question, the same number of paraphrases we found in the text also. So the reason I'm showing you this is for you to understand that one or two keywords are not enough for us to reach our answer. And again, if we go back to the question, what was it saying? We have to find the area of the body which is most likely to be affected. So what did we see here? Psoriasis is mentioned, and especially something and limbs. So what is that area of the body? So now what I want you to do is, I have two options for you. So I want you to now write in the chat that what should be the answer. Should it be one, especially the scalp, or should it be two, scalp or the scalp? So please write one or two as the answers in the chat. say yes, it would be the second one. Now, the problem with the first one is that it is repeating question words. So, if most likely is already written, and we just saw that that's a paraphrase of the question word. So, we are not supposed to repeat anything, any synonym or paraphrase of the question word. So, correctly, the answer would be scalp or the scalp. The reason why I gave the option of the scalp is that articles don't really affect your marks in short answer questions because the meaning stays the same. All right, then, let's try another one. So, here is the second question that we were looking at earlier. It says, how much non-steroid cream should be prescribed for application to a child's trunk? So, here the anticipation was of quantity, how much cream. So, again, I am going to show you the text very soon. And same thing that you did previously, you will have to find the four paraphrases of the keywords and then please write in the chat 1, 2, 3, 4, all the paraphrases that you found there. Again, let's not jump to the answers right now. I want to see you write the paraphrases. All right, there you go. You have about 15 seconds to do so. All right, so for non-steroid cream, we can see that creams and non-steroid is written over here. That's the paraphrase we see of that. Prescribed is mentioned as it is. Now, application, how do we know that it has to be applied? Because it was written topical treatment and child's trunk. So, in the heading, we can see children was written and trunk. So, those are the paraphrases for child's trunk. So, finally, what is the answer that we go to? How much cream should be prescribed? So, the intersecting section is this. So, the answer would be 400G. But I have a question for all of you. So again, I want you to choose one. What would be the appropriate way to write the answer? Will it be the first option or the second? Now please write in your chat what should be the right answer, one or two. So yes, the answer would be two because we cannot modify the way the answer is given in the text. We are not allowed to change anything. So if something is written in digits, we have to write it the same way. If it was worded out, then we have to write it the same. All right, let's try another. So here was the question in our anticipation. So we have to find the maximum percentage of a young patient's body to which calcitriol may be applied. So similarly, just like you did before, here is the text. Please write the paraphrases of these four keywords in the chat. Okay, so for maximum, um, let's see. So here it was written not more than. For young patients, we could see in the heading, they had written young people. Calcitriol was mentioned as it is. And how do we see the keyword body? They had written body surface. So they were asking this maximum percentage of a young patient's body to which calcitriol may be applied. Now, again, apply topical treatment as we saw before. So, The answer will be 35%. Now, yes, what should be the answer? Should we write 35 as the answer or should we write 35% as the answer? So from A or B, please choose one and write it in the chat quickly. So yes, we will write 35 as the answer because percentage symbol is already mentioned in the question. So here the error is the repetition of a question word. So even if percentage is written, we are not going to repeat that. Our answer has to be very concise and to the point, right? So let's try one last question. So here's the question. Around half of all patients with PSA will have pain in the dash joints. So here our anticipation was the name of certain joints, if you remember. So again, please write the 4 paraphrases of these keywords that you find in the text. You have again about 15 seconds. Okay, so what is the paraphrase of around? That would be approximately. Half of the patients see very clearly, it is written 50% of cases. So patients have been called cases and half 50%. And half pain, so have is written there and asymmetric stress pain. And for joints, it's written exactly like that. So what is the name of the joints that is attached with that? Distal interpharyngeal. Now, a question again for all of you. How should the answer be written? Should it be 1 or 2? Please write it in the chat whether you feel it would be 1 or 2. So in this case, actually both of them are right as the answer. That was a trick question. So because abbreviation is already written there, so you are free to use that in your when you write your answers. And if suppose you thought that, okay, I will write all of it, well, even that is okay. But whenever abbreviations are mentioned and we have to save our time, so you can go for DIP. All right then. So good job, everyone, and I really appreciate your participation. So what did we see here? What was the first step? Let's have a quick revision. Number one, we read the question, we underlined the keywords, and we kept a count of the number of keywords. Second, we did some anticipation to understand what information the question is asking us to find. Step three was to go to the text where information is likely to be found. And we found the same number of paraphrases as we had identified in the question. And last, very important, when we narrow down the answer, we have to write the answer in the exact same way. Don't modify the grammar or spellings. Many times students change that. So for example, if the answer is medication, they write medications. Immediately you are losing marks for that. Or don't change any spellings. Spelling mistakes are not allowed at all, especially when you have the text in front of you. You shouldn't be making that mistake. And do not use your own abbreviation. So the last question that we did, we used an abbreviation because it was written there. For example, if your answer is deep vein thrombosis, unless DVT is written, you're not going to write it. We can't use universally acceptable abbreviations on our own unless it is mentioned there. Okay. And yes, not to repeat the question words is very important. Just like we saw in the question where percentage was already written in the question, we will write exactly the missing piece from the question. Right, so that's it. So if we remember in the beginning, we had seen that this is the order in which we would attempt, and we have tackled all of them. So for 2 minutes, we are going to do skimming. Then we will do the matching questions and then short answer questions and then gap fill. And that is how we are going to optimize our 15 minutes of time. So, yes, that would be it then, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. I hope these strategies and the steps that I showed you helped you. And once again, if you want to join Care Education, you're absolutely free to do so. You can see our information written here. We offer online as well as offline classes, and you can join from anywhere around the world. We have different modes through which we deliver the classes, and we will use the one which is most suitable for you. So I look forward to seeing you in another All Stars class or in the actual classes at Care Education. Thank you so much, everyone. Please take care of yourself and all the best while you're preparing for OET. Thank you so much for joining. I look forward to seeing you.